Hi there, and welcome to this short webinar about application strategies for Work-Learn winter jobs. This is presented by the UBC Career Center. My name is Nick. I'm a career educator here with the workplace learning team that helps oversee Work-Learn. And just a quick overview of the things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to welcome you to this topic. I'm going to do a quick overview of the Work-Learn program. And then I'm quickly going to shift into some tips for applying and wrap up with some career tools that are available to UBC students. So a quick overview of the Work-Learn program. Work-Learn is really an opportunity to work with staff and faculty at UBC while gaining valuable on-the-job learning and skills growth. So supervisors across UBC who are faculty or staff members apply to Work-Learn for funding for their various projects to hire students. There are about 850 supervisors that apply to Work-Learn for funding each cycle. And these include a huge range of different types of roles that students can do on campus. So the UBC Career Center, for our part, we administer the funding and we provide support to both supervisors and students in these programs to support career growth. But if you are hired into a Work-Learn job, you're being interviewed and hired directly by other staff and faculty who work at various departments and units around UBC. There are hundreds and hundreds of jobs to choose from. There's about 2,400 students employed each year in the winter cycle. That's September through to April. And these jobs include research and non-research related roles. Because we're in the winter cycle, there's a maximum of 10 hours per week. In the summer cycle that runs from May to August, the maximum hours do go up to 20 hours a week, but it's just 10 hours a week in the winter. So there's still lots of time to be able to manage a full course load around that. Work-Learn is open to all levels of experience as well as year levels. If you're first year, that's okay. If you're wrapping up your studies, that's also okay. There are numerous eligibility requirements for Work-Learn. If you go to the video description of this video, you'll see a number of links, but one of them will be for eligibility for the Work-Learn program. I think the most important thing to note is that in order to be eligible, you must be enrolled in courses and you must also have a valid social insurance number so that you can get paid for all the important work you do in Work-Learn. The pay ranges quite a bit because there are less complex and more complex roles and a lot of things in between. But generally speaking, the pay range is from $17.93 to $32.66 per hour, depending on the type of role that you're hired into. And I also just want to note here that you can only hold one Work-Learn position, one undergraduate research award, or one co-op position at a time. Please also check eligibility for those other programs. But to summarize, if you're hired into a Work-Learn role, you can also do co-op at the same time, nor could you also hold an undergraduate research award. And this is to make sure that there's equitable access to these programs. You can't hold multiple Work-Learns simultaneously. You just have to pick one at a time. You can do one after the other, just not simultaneously. So the application timeline for Work-Learn is going to be from Monday, July 28th to Wednesday, August 13th. And again, these are for jobs that will be starting from September 1st to April 30th. The start dates can vary slightly depending on the role, but generally speaking, most of these jobs will be starting for September 1st. And that means that the interview process happens from mid-August through until the end of August. So, some tips for applying to Work-Learn jobs. Important to recognize every job is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have its own job description and its own qualifications. But these tips are going to be things that you can apply to just about any job that you apply for within the Work-Learn umbrella. Most importantly, make sure you submit your applications sooner rather than later. Especially for jobs that you really want, don't wait until the deadline day to apply. Most jobs will start doing interviews as soon as they get applications. So in order to ensure the best possible chances of getting an interview and getting a position, Apply for the positions that you want as soon as possible. It doesn't have to be on day one of the job openings, but just making sure you're not leaving it to the last couple of days. Make sure you always include a tailored cover letter. This should be a cover letter that mentions the skills and experiences you have that are relevant to the job. We talk to a lot of supervisors through this program. The number one thing we hear that they're looking for is some indication on cover letters about the actual job position you're applying for, not just a generic cover letter about who you are. So you should always be taking a close look at the job description for what kinds of things you're going to be asked to do, and then write about those things where it's relevant to your experience and skills in your cover letter. We also generally find that it's true that if you put more effort into fewer applications, it's going to yield better results than just firing off a bunch of generic applications. Yes, these are student jobs, but many of them are also specialized and they're working either in a particular industry, looking for particular skills, or are going to be in a really particular type of work. So you should be looking for ways that you can tailor your cover letter again and really focus your application on things that are relevant to you, jobs that you really want, versus trying to apply to 50 or 100 and hoping that the sheer volume of applications is going to yield good results. Generally, we find in WorkLearn that's not helpful. Make sure you also follow the job posting instructions. So every job that appears on Careers Online through WorkLearn is going to have slightly different instructions for how to apply. Make sure you include all the documents that supervisors ask for. A really good way to not be invited for an interview is to not include a document that supervisors are asking for. If they're asking for a class schedule, that means that if you don't include it in your application may not even be looked at. So this is really important, not just for WorkLearn jobs, but all jobs, is making sure you're reading the job posting instructions and the application instructions really carefully. It's also helpful to be thinking about some of the kinds of questions you might be asked in an interview and to do some preparation for that. You don't have to do a full practice run for every possible interview scenario. However, the WorkLearn window is quite short, and the time from you applying to you hearing back and getting an interview tends to go pretty quickly. So it's a good idea, especially if there's one or two jobs that you would really like, is to look through the job description again and think about, if I was hiring for this position, what kinds of questions would I ask to a candidate? Just to get that preparation started and to begin thinking about how you might answer those questions. Some general tips for cover letters and resumes. Your cover letter should always mention the job title and specifically why you are interested in that role. This can feel like sometimes the hardest part of applying to a job, saying why you want that job, but this should be an honest and specific answer about how that job is going to help your career goals, the things that you'd like to learn, and really trying to just honestly answer, why am I interested in this job? If you, again, include a generic application, you don't include the job title, that signals a lack of effort to the people who are doing hiring. And the best way to stand out is to simply answer some of those really basic but important questions. You also want to include specific examples of the skills and experiences that you have and how they align with the role. So a cover letter isn't just a longer version of your resume that says all the skills and experiences you have. It focuses on 2 or 3 skills and experiences that relate to the job you're applying for and provides more specific detail about those. Sometimes I use the analogy that you can think of your resume a little bit like a menu at a restaurant, and your cover letter is like the server coming to your table to tell you about the specials. Your resume is going to be a list of, here's all the things I've done, here's all the things I can do, and your cover letter is going to be, here's where my specialties are. Here's the things that I really have a lot of strength and experience in. A couple of other things to remember about WorkLearn. These are competitive roles. Many supervisors are getting 50 plus applications for just one role. And supervisors are looking to give opportunities to students who are going to make the most of the opportunity. So sharing information about how this fits into your career goals, what you're hoping to learn, what you're going to bring to that position. Again, being specific really helps a supervisor understand and begin to imagine what it might be like to work with you. Also, don't be afraid to follow up. Yes, it's a very busy time of year. Supervisors may struggle to get back to you. Generally speaking, supervisors are only going to reply to candidates who they invite to interviews, but it doesn't mean you can't email any questions and try to learn more about the position. Probably this isn't possible for every single position, but it's great to do some follow-up for the applications to jobs that you're particularly interested in, just in case they've maybe already invited some people to interviews, but maybe some of those interviews didn't go the way they had hoped, and reaching out again is a way to sort of bump your name back to the top of the list, or at least put it back on their radar to say, hey, remember me, I applied to this job, I'm still interested, as well as to maybe clarify any questions you have about the job posting. A few positions will be still posted in late August, so not every WorkLearn job gets filled right away or after that window closes. So it's worth checking careers online after the job postings officially close. There will be far fewer positions available, and I wouldn't recommend this as just waiting until after the window closes. Absolutely not. But there will still be some jobs available. So if you don't hear anything back during the first window that jobs are posted on Careers Online, don't worry, there will still be some jobs available. Yes, it will be limited, but you're still going to see opportunities appear. This isn't your one and only chance to get a WorkLearn job. And we always like to remind people, WorkLearn is just one program at UBC. There's lots of ways to get involved. There's lots of different job opportunities. Yes, WorkLearn is a great program, but it's not the only program. So also, if you don't hear anything back or you don't get a WorkLearn job, know that it's not the end of the road for you. There's lots of other opportunities available. I'm going to wrap up with a few career tools that are available to you to help you with your applications. The first is that you can meet with a career advisor. So also in Careers Online, you can look up and see when there's appointments available, and you can actually book a time with a career advisor to sit down and talk through your application, answer any questions, think about your approach to applying. The appointments do fill up quickly, so make sure you book an appointment as soon as possible. And maybe don't necessarily wait until you get the invite for an interview, but that's also an okay time to book an appointment with an advisor. And they can help you with questions about any part of the job application process from resume right through to doing an interview and accepting an offer. There's also the career resource page. This is really the hub for career tools and resources. These are all built by our team here at the Career Center. They include a lot of in-depth resources about resumes, cover letters, interviews, every part of the job application process. There's also a WorkLearn Canvas course. This is a self-enroll course that walks you through some more in-depth information about what WorkLearn is. It has some in-depth resources on applying, as well as resources to follow you through a WorkLearn role if you secure one. You don't have to have a WorkLearn job in order to take the WorkLearn Canvas course. The resources are there for anybody with a CWL to use. And I've mentioned it a few times, but Careers Online is really the central job board at UBC for students and alumni. So you can stay updated with upcoming career fairs, participate in workshops, see about what information sessions are happening. This is where you book appointments with career advisors, and of course is where as well where you will see jobs posted for WorkLearn. So I want to wish you the best of luck in your applications for WorkLearn. And again, just to summarize, really look for jobs where you feel like there's skills and experiences you have that could lend themselves well to it. Look to narrow down your search as much as possible and really focus your strength in your applications on a few positions that you're really interested in, rather than trying to apply for every job that you have some qualifications for. It's absolutely okay to throw out some job applications that you maybe spend a little bit less time on. Time is always limited, but just make sure you're not doing 100 generic applications to jobs, as again, it's unlikely that you're going to hear much back from those. Thank you so much for your time today. If you have any questions, you of course can reach out to the WorkLearn team here at UBC or reach out and book an appointment.